Today we have something different. We've got two guests here in Adelaide, Tim and Margaret, who have gone through the Monsta experience, buying some paint, and have used it. And we thought we'd get them in town and get them into our head office and have a chat to them just about their experience and about their paint project. So Tim and Margaret, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So I've got a couple of questions I've written down here so I don't lose my form. But what led you to paint the house? What was the decision behind it? Your house?
Well, it hadn't been done for so long and it desperately needed a revamp. So yeah, I decided that we had better do something.
I heard that then, she decided.
Yeah. So we did. So I got online and had a look to see what was available, and on YouTube I saw what was
You came
there.
across? Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And so the feel, so your existing home, a bit of a brush up. Did you go anything different than what you had before, or did you sort of stay with the same appearance or look?
The colour that we chose from Monsta was probably a little bit lighter, wasn't it?
Mm.
Was the cool grey.
Yeah, cool grey is what you took. That's right.
And
cool white
what
grey.
we had before was, what would you say?
Well, it's certainly different. I mean, it wasn't as light. It was more grey, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
Okay. And did you change the floor coverings with this project as well?
We're
So you had new floors?
we're in the proceeds of doing that. So
Okay.
hopefully it'll all come together.
We decided to paint first, in that if we made a bit of a mess, we knew that we were changing the floor covering, so it
Okay.
didn't matter too much.
So you made me feel good because I'm not the only one that paints like that. Right. Understand completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a real DIY project for you.
Yeah.
So you did all the painting yourself? Or you had some help?
Well, we had some help. There was a person who used to be our next door neighbour and moved a few years back. He's probably about 45. He knocked on the door one afternoon and said he'd been retrenched and dropped in really just to say good day, but he said he was in the street looking to see if there's any casual work that people needed, and I said, well, you better come in. Now, he was about 6'4", and when you look at my height, I needed somebody who could reach ceilings and high places.
Because you got an older type place?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it was built in 1951, so high
ceilings. Yeah.
ceilings. And it worked out really, really well. We had a plan. He'd come in each morning at about 9 o'clock after he'd dropped his children off to school. We'd have a cup of tea and plan the approach. And then he'd work until about 3 o'clock or something like that, and he'd go and pick his children up. So there was Marg and I and him and the three of us working, we allocated work to each other according to our capabilities, if you like, and it turned out pretty well.
So I know that side of town on the eastern side, Adelaide's well known for clay soils,
yes.
a bit of cracking, etc. Did you have to do some repairs of the walls?
Yes, we did.
So
yeah.
These are all solid masonry?
Yes, they're double brick. In every room there were cracks, not large cracks, not structural cracks.
Hairline sort of through the plaster.
And there were a couple that were sort of, once you chip stuff away, they were a bit wider. And we knew that we would have to do those before we painted. So that took a week to do
the repairs.
With one person going through cutting out the cracks and another person going through filling.
So what did you do? Did you flush them up with a polyfiller or something like that?
Yeah, and actually put some plastic mesh in the polyfiller to reinforce as an experiment, hoping that
that'll work.
It will work. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Margaret, I might ask you, so you mentioned before you came across us on YouTube. Obviously Monsta's a whole new way of buying DIY, and a lot of people think we're pitching at the likes of Lockie's age, that are young guns there, but I think even these days they're saying that the biggest uptake of Facebook users are the 45 to 70-year-olds now, and Australia's sort of coming to the trend with the US. Did you have any doubts with the experience when you're thinking, oh gosh, this is paint online?
Well, initially,
Yep.
so I saw it on YouTube, and then I went onto Facebook and then I started, reading everything that you had there. So I thought, oh, look, give him a go. Look, and then listening to you, you know, do this spiel about the paint, I thought, oh, well, just give it a go. So, and then I was telling Tim about it and then showed him. And so, yeah, we went from there. So
Because these guys always say that this is a face only a mother could love, so I'm glad that someone else has actually taken it forward. Great.
No, it was good. It was good. And, you know, like, when we got the paint, and especially on the first night, because we when did we start? When we needed to paint, like, the next day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we delivered it.
You did?
We got to make sure it was there in time.
how good was that? That's a really good service.
Yeah. Well, you're lucky in Adelaide because we can do same day or next day.
That was
Interstaters
really
have the additional day, but did you guys take sample pots? I can't remember. I know you took colour cards.
Yeah, we took the colour cards,
made a
and
selection.
really, I should have got the sample pot and just, you know, tried it on the wall. That, you know, next time,
Yep.
if we never do it again, that's what I do, because, you know, when it's all said and done, I mean, I love it. It's a good colour, but I think if I'd had the sample pots, then I could actually see which one I'd really like to. We chose the, what was it?
The cool white grey.
Yeah.
Cool white grey.
Which I thought would, you know, blend in well, and it really has. I mean, but I think given that you've got the sample pots, I'd probably take a few of those and just see.
So we're now selecting our floorings to match the walls
Yeah.
as well.
But that, I mean, have you got windows with a lot of light coming into these rooms? Because you've done virtually the whole house. haven't
Yeah.
you? So
Yeah.
different rooms will have different light coming through.
Exactly.
But that sort of colour, you know, if you're getting in the main living areas a good dash of sunlight coming through, that cool white grey, you can even go with a slightly darker floor finish and it'll bring the room up a bit.
We've done that. We've gone with a sort of an aged oak, if you like, which has grey. If you can imagine aged timber,
Yes.
so it's been milled and it's aged. So you get these sort of patches of grey, which would be weather exposure.
Yeah, okay.
So it's
so the yellow's slightly a little bit.
yes, yeah, exactly. And I think the colour that we've chosen has brightened the house up quite a bit.
And ceilings, did you guys do your ceilings?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
took the standard ceiling white?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll put you on the spot, Tim, with yourself and your neighbour that helped out. How did you, I mean, if you can recall previous paint jobs, I mean, how did it stack up? Was it anything noticeable that you picked up on the paint, using the paint?
When it comes to paint use, I'm not an academic in that area, but the person who assisted me had painted 2 of his own houses, and the feedback was from him how easily the paint went on.
That's good feedback.
And the efficiency of the paint as well. So
Good coverage.
good coverage, you're able to eliminate waste, but his impression was really good about how easily it went on, and the coverage we got out of it. And in fact, also how easy it was on the implements that you're using, so rollers, brushes,
etc.
and cleaning.
Yeah, I don't know if you might have seen a couple of our posts. We had 2 of our chemists that developed the range, so they've both been in the paint industry for collectively between them probably 40 to 50 years. I'm showing their age now, but when we developed the Monsta brand last year and the work we did, the mantra I gave them was, guys, we want to make the best paints, make sure they're good paints. We'll always get the price where it needs to be because of the way the Monsta model is. And so that feedback's been common from other customers, but I'm glad, and it's good to acknowledge that, Tim, because you're probably like me, you don't use a lot of paint a lot of the time, but if you get people that have painted regularly, that's the feedback we're getting, even from some of the trade that are getting into the product now. So,
and I guess the other thing, you asked Mark, why did we, or how did she go about selecting Monsta? I think the other thing that we discussed was that you're a South Australian based manufacturer. And I think in current times that's important if you can support. So when you look at price, SA-based manufacturing and the efficiency of the product and the service, when they all add up, I think That's a really big bonus for customers.
I appreciate that feedback. I mean, look, we've started with paint. We've got a whole lot of other products we're adding to the range, which customers will find out about over the coming months. But we started with paint because it's a big department. It's a big area. People do it, in this country every day of the week. There's someone painting a home if it's not a professional DIY project, and it's either a touch-up or it's like you guys have done when you've done the whole house. If you were going, was there a moment that you had where you thought, okay, I've got to remember this piece while we're painting, or because you're a DIY that you thought, I've got to make sure I remember this while we're doing the painting side, or was it just go with it, and if we've made an error, we'll go back and fix it and clear it up?
And we did make a few errors, and then we had to go back and fix it up.
Oh,
you want to share those errors?
Yeah.
What were they?
The Stewart's room, we had to do a second coat.
Okay, our son, who doesn't, he's grown up now, but probably when he was about 16, he decided he was going to paint his room. So we had dark wall colours. What was it? It was
green.
A dark green.
Okay.
Which took more than one coat. Look, I guess when I placed the order, there was some reticence about using an online retailer, if you like, because traditionally you go in and you look at the paint. You're looking at tins of paint and colours, and but I had probably 2 or 3 fairly long conversations with Lockie.
Yep. One of our Monsta crew.
Yep, one of the Monsta crew, and the advice that he gave, I think in the long run was correct. I probably underestimated the amount that I would need. So for instance, we needed to put 2 coats on that room that we've just mentioned, and I initially thought, no, we'll get away with 1 coat there. So I think we reordered at one stage because we used, I cut back on what he advised, but in fact his advice was probably about right.
That's good. Oh, I'm glad he's listened to the training. That's fantastic. But just on that experience then, so you made a valid comment, buying something online, which I alluded to before with Margaret, what were your apprehensions potentially? What did you think could go wrong? Well, if we weren't in SA and we're based in Sydney, I mean, or you didn't know where we were from but was Australian, what would your apprehensions or concerns might be?
Well, whether you're actually going to get a product that lives up to the marketing information. I mean, it's probably like I buy fishing reels online, for instance, like if you buy stuff from China, you're never really sure about what it's going to be like. And I know the world is shifting to online buying, so there's that self-education process, I guess, that you develop along the way, which is how much you can interrogate the site to get the information that you need to make you comfortable that you're going to get a quality product. But does that make sense?
Look, and we've heard that from other customers that we've spoken to, and people that ring up and expecting some sort of answering service and speak to people like Lockie, like you said, a real person.
Yes.
Then that's the big thing for us. But it's good to hear that feedback because, I mean, we're only 5 months old, so we're just getting through those barriers. But that's the beauty of social media. The transparency is that my mug's on this screen daily, through all the social media we put out there. I've got kids at school. No one's going to want them to come back and go, "Oh, your dad's a shark." We've got to back up with exactly what we're doing. And I've got all our employees and our team really passionate about the brand and what we're pushing out there. But these are steps. You can't go to someone and say, "Trust me." You just got to put it out there, and the likes of yourselves and other customers that have had the experience and come back, "Oh, this is great, you've come in today." We've had others interstate that have either phoned in or written in and said, "Really love the experience, it's been great." That's what's important to us, and we can build on from that. That'll come, but it takes time. But as you said, the trends of now buying. But I look at white goods. Like you buy fishing reels online, so it's this people that say tell me they go and buy a TV online, I always struggle. I'm a bit old school, want to go and see the TV,
Yeah, that's
touch
right.
and feel. But you know, when you look at the value of it now, and it gets delivered home, and you just save yourself an afternoon out to go to some retailer,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
So I think what you've done is that you've built in that insurance factor that overcomes some of the anxiety that people might have in buying things like paint online, and that insurance factor is that you can talk to somebody.
Yeah.
There's somebody who coaches you through the process. I guess one of the things I was really, really scared about was measuring and getting the quantities really wrong. But
You don't want
that's
to overspend.
yeah, exactly. And you know, you don't want to underspend because you don't want to run out of paint halfway through
that's
walls
the job,
or whatever. And that's where Lockie was really, really, really helpful. You know, and in the end, you know, it's just simple. I just said, okay, well, I need that. Yeah, that's that figure. That's that figure. And it was my choice to cut back on the quantity. So he was pretty right. But so I think what you've done there is that there's that value add for the customer experience where that support is available to help people through their decision-making process.
Mm-hmm. Great. Yeah, look, and that was the one thing we wanted to make sure of, because we'd lived in the whole retail space many, many years ago through another model, and that was the disconnect we had, is that customers going to a store could get the wrong advice or don't get the exact advice. That's the beauty of this model with direct discussions, and we can even do real lifetime with camera and Skype, etc. From someone's home, and they can show us that problem. And so using technology to their advantage.
Yeah.
Did you, with the tools and the brushes and the rollers, Tim, did you buy them from us? Did you go them online? Or you bought them elsewhere?
We had a supply of stuff, so we decided to utilise that. I don't think we had too many problems. We also bought, you know, the what's it called, that it's a TV marketing product.
Oh yeah, I've
and
seen
then you
that.
roll it.
How did that go?
Well, we didn't use
You
it.
didn't use it? Okay, there you go. So, what would potentially change your mind on buying additional things from the Monsta site, besides the paints, like the full package? If you were doing it again, you know, with things like the rollers or brushes that would be recommended from our Monsta crew, like if Lockie said to you, hey, you know, this is the brush for you, or the roller, or a utensil like that, would that be something that is more helpful, or is it sort of too much of a hard sell if we're pushing the tools like that to you?
Look, it depends on how it's upsold,
Yeah.
if you like. Because I think there would be a lot of people out there that would benefit from. So you buy the product, but you know, do people really think about the quantity or the type of tools that they require?
And the quality of the
to
finish
deliver?
that you're going to get as well.
Yeah. I think anything that augments the quality of your product is a good thing if it's available. People have to make a choice. You know,
Yeah, of
if you
course.
put it to them, they say no, we're okay, or yes, that's really good. So let's talk about what we need.
So
Yeah.
I guess, mate?
The quality of the instruments as well. I mean, we've had brushes that you know, you put the paint on and then the little brushes
Yeah,
come off.
fibres come off.
So annoying. But you know, if you've got good quality brushes, you know,
That's the
what you
trick,
want
I
to
think.
do.
I asked that because one of the things that we worked on is that the products that we don't manufacture, we're hot on trying to use Australian-made products. So very difficult to find an Australian manufacturer that makes actual paint rolls in this country. But we found a couple of companies in Sydney, was it perhaps?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where they either assemble in Australia or they're actually Australian-made parts. And the whole thing for Monsta is to make sure that all the ancillary products that we have under the brand that we might not make here are Australian made, and just to try and push that piece of it.
That's good.
If you're going to paint again, what would you do differently next time?
Oh gosh.
Well, I think we come back to you people for paint.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Do you do outside?
External,
Do you do that?
exterior paints.
Oh my gosh, we have to do that. We have to.
Lockie?
There you
You
go.
got a job
Yeah.
there, mate?
Yeah, but
I haven't been told about this.
No, but no, you.
That's all right. That's all right. Springtime is soon, so.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you got a couple of months' time and the sun will be out.
Yeah. Well, see, now we're both retired, so we can, we've got the time to do it.
Exterior paint, yeah, no,
Yeah.
we're very.
So that'll be our
good
next
quality.
project, Tim.
Oh.
But
Well, that might be the one where you get your sample pots in. And
Yes,
have a play with
definitely.
those.
Okay,
Yeah.
because we've been driving around looking at,
Other people's places.
yeah,
With
for
colours.
colours.
As you do, yeah.
For colours.
We need help on colours though.
Mm.
Well, we can help you there.
Yeah, we do. We
I mean,
definitely.
we've got a free colour consulting piece as well, so we can help you with the colours. And like we said, you can either throw some photos in to us
I've got
by
photos,
email, okay,
yeah.
or show them to us. Or like I said, you can do a Skype or a Facebook Live, show us the actual image of where you're at. We can get an understanding of the direction where it's
Yeah.
facing, what the external landscape is like, and we can make some suggestions for you and understand the look. You've got
Good.
pavers or grass out there or planter boxes up against
Yeah.
it, and how you want to run that.
Do you paint for aluminium? Like so, we now it's sort of a grey. Do you do paint to put it on aluminium?
Aluminium window frames.
Yeah, aluminium window frames.
Yeah, you need a special aluminium primer,
Mm.
and then we can put the paint on that.
Oh, you do. We need to do that as well because the frames are yellow. Like
Yeah, I
that
understand.
cream.
The
looks-
cream.
Yeah,
doesn't
correct.
look
Normal
good.
sort of.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, that's good. Well, we've actually got a sale of this one, so that's good.
Yeah.
Well, look, I appreciate you coming down, guys. I know Miguel's not too far from here, but it's great that you came down and shared your experience with us, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of our followers that are going to get some value out of what you've said today. But yeah, please, it's great. I mean, this wasn't staged as the first time I met you guys, and I'm really, I know you've been dealing with our crew on inquiries, etc. But fantastic to hear your experience, that it's been successful, that you've enjoyed dealing with the paints and the whole online piece. Yeah, and look, if anyone else has got any questions or would like to put in comments, please forward them through. But Tim, Margaret, thank you for joining Chief Monsta on this NTV show, and we'll hopefully see you again with the exterior paints.
Yeah, you definitely
Excellent.
will. Yeah,
Great.
thank you. Yeah.